Welcome back to TwoGunTerry and Friends. I'm TwoGunTerry, and today I'm going to go ahead and show you how to reassemble my 1022. But first, here's my intro. We'll go ahead and take our rubber washer, and again I'm going to add some oil just to give it some pliability. It's not for any other reason other than to kind of bring it back to life because it's getting a little dried out. And I'm going to go ahead and slip it back on the front of the barrel here, on the muzzle. And we're going to take our compensator and we're going to look inside the comp to see if it's all gummed up. And actually this one's getting gummed up a wee bit. It's not affecting the shots yet, but this guy's getting ready to be replaced. Here, let me show you something real quick while I have everything here. Why not? We'll use this. I'm going to take a screwdriver. I'm going to show you that comp from the side. And you can see in the top port up here, inside here, it's all leaded up. If you can't see through it, then it's got lead in there. And lead and bullets don't get along. So I'm going to take this screwdriver and my hammer. I'm going to bust some of that lead out of there. And it's stuck in there pretty good, by the way. There are several different types of solvents, including a homemade one that some of the guys I know use. I think it's hydrogen peroxide and white vinegar and water. There are videos online. I think they might call it Reds or something like that. And you're going to be amazed here in a second. But look at all that. Can you see that? Okay. Put it in my hand. Just from banging it for a few seconds, look how much lead came out of the inside of that compensator. Oh, there's even more here. Look at this big piece stuck right there. So let's keep getting all that out. There we go. And that cleaned it up really good for a first attempt because we got to it early. So that got all the lead out of the way. Here's more. Let's see if we can get that out. There we go. Now you can see it's much cleaner, right? You can see through all 4 ports. And again, I'm going to show you this again because it blows my mind how little effort it takes. That's how much lead came out of the inside of that compensator. Unbelievable, right? And by the way, with all that lead in there, as the bullet is traveling through the comp, if it hits some of that lead, boom, all of a sudden the bullets start going every which direction, and you start adjusting your sight because you say, oh my God, my sight must be out of whack. It's not your sight, it's your comp is gummed up, or leaded up as we call it. So I cleaned that one up pretty good. I got to it early, so that was easy. Believe me, I've battled these things and just usually throw them away and get a new one. But right now, that one looks pretty good still, so we're going to put it back on. Thread the comp back on. And as I said before, I like my comp, the ports, the little round ports, not those big side ports, but the round top ports, these guys here, we get it in position to be pointing straight up. You can see that there. These holes right here are lined up with the symmetrical with my barrel. And the reason I like that, when you fire, boom, you want the gases to push up so that it's forcing the muzzle down. So as you're firing, boom, it doesn't go as much up and returns right back on 0, hopefully. Bang, bang, bang. Some people say it doesn't work on 22. I've done my own testing and I say it does work on 22. So I use comps. Not to mention that if you don't use a compensator, these 1022s are so quiet that the timers won't pick up the shots and you'll have to reshoot the string and for whatever reason you've always shot the best time of your life, just as you need to reshoot it because the timer didn't hear it. So yes, it's the RO's job to get that timer in the right position, but whether he does or doesn't, I mean, it could happen where he doesn't pick up a good run. So, all right, that's it. That's the upper, the barrel, the receiver, the trigger, all ready to go. The bolt, all ready to go. I'm going to set that over here. Now let's talk about the lower for a minute. The chassis, the grip, the buttstock, the cheek rest, shoulder rest. On this gun here, if you can see right there, there's a screw. And believe it or not, you have to use a special tool. This guy slides, I don't want to mess up my gun because I have it all set up and I have a match tomorrow. But this guy slides down inside the tube and tightens a screw up front here. This is a little hex wrench. It's got a little hex end on there. Not sure what size, but this comes with the Weiland kit. It slides, like I said, it slides up inside the buttstock, and you can loosen or tighten this screw that's holding the buttstock to the chassis, and it allows you, you can see that there's some space there. You can adjust this up or down depending on where you like it. Me, I like it down as far as I can get it. I wish I can get it down even more, but this is an inch more than I had in my other chassis. So that's a big difference, because when you hold the gun here, your sight is right here. You want to be looking straight down through your sight. If the gun's too low, you have to tilt your head down now to see through it, or hold the gun up higher on your face to see through it correctly, and it gets uncomfortable, or you don't shoot as well. If you put your natural cheek weld on your cheek rest, or just on your buttstock, whatever you have, and can rest it there, and your eye is right perfectly lined up straight through the red dot sight or iron sights, you're ahead of the game. Makes things much easier. There's another screw in here, if you can see it inside there, that allows to move the grip forward and backwards. And again, I have it set exactly where I want it, so I don't want to move it. But you probably, again, I don't know if you can see, but there's about an inch worth of movement there as well, forward and backwards. And that's so that my finger touches the trigger exactly where I want it to. I like my trigger to be just ahead of the first bend in the first knuckle there. I like it on the very tip of the finger, on the inside of the pad, right about here. That's where I like it. You can put it wherever you want. Some people put it right on the joint. Other people like it on the tip. I don't recommend that, because you can push you can push the firearm right and left, or to the left actually. If you're shooting to the left too much, you're landing all your shots to the left, it's because you probably have your fingertip on the trigger instead of down here in this groove. Because when you push, even though it's very little, you're pushing. I'm exaggerating now. It just needs, all you need is that much, and you missed by it depends on how far you are, but you missed. So you want to be able to pull smoothly straight back. Bing, bing, straight back, straight back. That's the goal. And this adjustment allows you to get your finger exactly where you need it. Lastly, I have this cheek riser here. And I like it all the way down in the back. I like it set just like this. I have it all the way down in the back and up a little bit. That way when I rest my face, I can feel it hitting my cheekbone in the front, and the back I don't care about. It's just for my cheekbone to hit the front. And then I lock this whole thing in up against my shoulder. You can adjust this buttstock right and left. You can adjust it in and out. You can even move it forward and back. You can cut some of this tube off if it's for a younger shooter. You can cut some of the back of the tube off so that the stock isn't as long. And you can, if you want it to be really short, you can get it short. So this Weiland setup is really amazing. This is everything you see here is Weiland except for the grip. And this is also Weiland. This is what comes with the Weiland kit. Everything but this grip. I don't know why they don't give you the grip. They should. But anyway, this is what comes with it. This is carbon fiber. The buttstock is carbon fiber. This is all, I don't know what it is. It's all fancy schmancy stuff. I will give you a warning. If you do get this set up, Do not over tighten these screws that clamp down onto the tube, clamp the shoulder rest onto the tube, the buttstock. Don't over tighten these. This is very thin carbon fiber, and if you over tighten them, it'll crack. I've cracked mine a little bit, and when I watched my first video about how to install it, the person that installed it, Steve Foster, he also warned not to crack it, that he cracked his. I over tightened it and cracked mine, so now you have 2 warnings. Don't over tighten that. You don't need much. It locks right on, believe me. And the same applies to the front tube. Let's see if I can show you where I cracked it. Yep, right here. So I don't know if you can see this. This right line right here is all cracked where I over tightened it. It's not the manufacturer's fault, it's my fault. It must have said 10 times not to over tighten it, and I did. Okay, with all of that, next step is let's put it back together. Okay, so we've cleaned off our work area and we're ready to put our firearm back together again. First thing you need to do is you need to make sure that the safety button, I don't want to point this at my head, so I'll do it this way. The safety has to be in the middle position. In order to do that, you have to rack the gun and then put the safety into the middle. And hopefully it'll stay there. If you don't do that, that safety button will get hung up on the inside of the chassis. So let's see if we can get this together on the first try. Occasionally it takes a few tries. There it goes. Okay. So now that it's in position, the next thing we're going to do is put that bolt back in the bottom, this little screw. And that really just holds the whole gun together. We're going to use our 1/8 inch hex wrench. We're going to get it snug like that and then give it a good little crank. Some people put Loctite on this screw. This is an important screw. It holds, like I said, it holds everything together. You don't want any vibration there. So, but mine's in pretty good right now. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my handguard, slide it over the comp, and down. You want to get it down into the chassis some, like that. As far down as you can get it to go. It'll stop when it hits in the bottom here. It'll stop. With the handguard in place, we're going to take our cover here. I'm going to put it in position. I'm going to get these screws started so it doesn't fall off on us. And this one is a 7/64 Allen key or Allen wrench. Get it started. And before I tighten it all the way down, I want to make sure that handguard is in position all the way back like it should be. Hold back on it like that. And we'll get cranking here in a minute. And you want to use the cross pattern when you're tightening these screws down. In other words, you want to do this one, then come over here across on like an X pattern. Give it a little crank. Again, the X pattern. Give it a little crank. A little crank. And again, I broke this already, like I said. But that's it. That's on. This is on. This is all tight. I'm going to go ahead and rack it. Fire it. Rack it. Fire it. Rack it. Put the safety on. Try to fire it. Doesn't fire. That's correct. Take the safety off. Fire it. Then there's one last step I do. And let me show this to you as well. One last step. Get my oil back out again. I'm going to lock my bolt back. And I'm going to find my recoil rod, which is down inside. Right, you can see it right over here. You can see it right there. All the way in the back. I'm going to put some more oil on that. I really want that sucker wet. Rub it around with my finger a little bit. And one last spot that I put oil, I put my bolt all the way forward. I'm going to put some oil right back here in the back of the bolt, because this is the area that moves. So So I just put a little bit in there, rub it around on the side here. Smooth as silk, baby. Okay, so now that my rifle's back together again, there's one last step, and that's running a bore snake down through the barrel to clean the barrel. A bore snake is this guy right here. And all it is, it's a little metal weight on the end of a big long string that happens to be the exact correct caliber to size to go down through my 22 rifle. This particular bore snake is made for 22 caliber. It's beat to death because I've used it 10 million times. But what the bore snake has is just a big string. I'll show you how to use it in a second. But as the string goes through, this fabric starts to clean the barrel. Then there's actually some wire brushes on here. And then some more cleaning, more cleaning, more cleaning. And it gets thicker and thicker and thicker to pull everything straight out of the barrel. I'm going to go ahead and drop it right into the barrel. And I'm just going to feed some string. Feed some of the bore snake till it comes out through the bottom. Now I want to get my string, I want to get the bore snake in a straight line. I'm going to pull this up until we get tight right there. And now I'm going to keep the gun pointing straight up just because it's easier to pull it. Make sure I'm not sitting on the bore snake. I'm just going to pull it through. Just like that. And it's a bear, it gets tough. I wrap my hand around it. The little wire brush just came through. When you're wrapping your hand, watch that wire brush. It can hurt. And pull it through. I'm going to do it one more time. Just to make sure we got everything out of there. Let's see if I can do this. Let's see if I can do it where you can see what I'm trying to do. It's very difficult to do it that way, but here we go. We got it in. I'm just going to feed some string till it comes out through the bottom. There it is. Pull up the slack. And then you don't want it to be like this, where you're fighting against this. You want the bore snake to be more like in a straight line. So it's easier to pull because it does get difficult. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap my hand with the string and start to pull. Wrap again, take up the slack, pull, take up the slack. That wire brush came through, pull, and take it right out. And that is how we clean the bores of our rifles. Maybe once a year, I'll soak it in some sweets or some hoppies, bore solution, bore cleaner. But the rest of the time, I'm using a bore snake. Now that she's ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and reinsert my flag. Drop the hammer, and I'm going to pull the trigger. Okay, we're good. And that's it. She's back together and ready for a match tomorrow, as a matter of fact. I'm going to go ahead and lock my bolt back. And I'm going to reinsert my flag. Drop my hammer. It's dropped already. And this firearm is ready to go. So again, thank you for watching. We really appreciate your likes and subscribes. And we look forward to seeing you out at the range. This is TwoGunTerry saying take care now. Thanks. Bye. That's all I have for now. Thank you for stopping by. And remember to like, subscribe, and do what?
Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you.
Bankrupt.
TwoGun!